What's up guys, Commander Carl here, and I want to welcome all of you to my first foray into long-form content! Now, I've wanted to do this for a while, where I talk about games I feel have some of the best reload animations, and I think now is finally the time. So, like, subscribe, and share, and above all, enjoy. Alright, let's get started. So a question I've been getting recently, being the internet's new reload extraordinaire, is what games do I think have the best reload animations? Now, one would think the answer would lie somewhere in the Call of Duty or Battlefield franchise, and that's mostly true. I'm gonna be going over those games in the future, but those games aren't what I think of when I hear this question. Guys, we're going back to 2006. Come on, let's go!
Picture it now! You're at your best friend's house because he just got an Xbox 360 for his birthday, and one of the games he got is this one! Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. What the fuck even is this game? Who cares? Fire up the campaign mode. Holy shit! Look at these graphics, man! The explosions are fucking awesome! And the audio, it's all so satisfying, and the gameplay, it's solid. Everything is just so kick-ass. You go home that day having to change your underpants because they're so full of shit from the awesomeness you just witnessed. And you find out online the game has a PC version. You're like, fuck yes, I'm all on that like flies on dog shit. And you drive as fast as possible to Game Crazy. And you pull out your Ridge wallet that doesn't even exist yet. So fast that it boomerangs around the store, eventually smacking the cashier in the cranium, instantly rendering them unconscious. Awesome. Now you can just take the game without paying. Game Crazy's going out of business in a few years anyway, so who gives a shit? You get home, you throw that shit into the CD drive and install it right away. And you boot it up and then you see this. What the fuck? This game is entirely different. The only thing that's the same is you play as Scott Mitchell, who's already the least memorable protagonist in video game history. Everything else is different. The explosions, they don't have that same kaboom. And the graphics look dull, and the textures are blurry and uninspiring.
I'm actually just kidding. Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter for the PC, for all intents and purposes, is actually a pretty good game, and I've got great memories playing it. It's got solid mechanics, the strategy involved is really fun. It's a good game, but there's one thing this game did exceptionally, stupidly well. You guessed it. Reload animations. In fact, the attention to detail to weapons in this game is like nothing I'd ever seen, especially for the time. Maybe the only thing that came somewhat close was America's Army.
But that game was literally government-sponsored propaganda.
Advanced Warfighter was developed by a Swedish studio called Grin. Unfortunately, a couple years after the release of Advanced Warfighter 2, Grin was shuttered, citing financial difficulties. Not long, however, the former founders of Grin and a handful of their veteran developers founded a new studio called Overkill Software, who went on to develop the super popular Payday series, which, unsurprisingly, has amazing reload animations.
Coincidence? I think not!
Anyways, with Advanced Warfighter, you guys have to keep in mind, that game came out back when reload animations still looked like this. Ugh. And this. What the fuck even is this? He didn't even put a new bag in, he just took the same one out and put it back in! I'm out, I need a bag!
No worries, mate. Just pop her out and put it back in.
What?
Oh, just do it, you daddy licker.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. What the fuck are you talking about? What the? Side note, not hating on Fear. That game's fucking awesome, and if you haven't played it, you need to seriously reevaluate your life. Anyways, with Advanced Warfighter's reload animations, there's really two components to them that makes them stand out so much, even compared to modern big-budget titles. Let's talk about the first one.
So in like 90% of first-person shooters out there, it's set up like this. Now I'm gonna use one of my favorite games, Gary's Mod, to demonstrate this. You see the gun and arms of your character in first person, right? These are called view models. They're typically a pair of high-detail floating arms that are in front of the camera, holding an equally high-detail weapon. Now let's look at your character in third person. Obviously, the hands you're seeing here are not the same ones as in the first-person view models. They're entirely separate assets. What this means is that there are two separate animations happening when your character reloads a weapon, swings a melee weapon, fires a weapon, etc. And depending on what camera is viewing these animations, one of them isn't being rendered. In a lot of games, if you look down, you'll actually see legs and a lower body. On occasion, developers will opt to partially render the lower half of the third-person character in first-person perspective, but even in this case, there are still two separate sets of arms and guns for both first-person and third-person perspective.
I know it sounds a bit complicated and messy, but it's actually generally easier for developers to have things set up in this manner, especially for multiplayer shooters.
In Advanced Warfighter, however, the devs said
Fuck that noise.
and decided that separate first and third person models and animations are fucking stupid, and animated only one version of the character and gun and slapped a first person camera onto them. This way, animations and models are the exact same, regardless of what camera is looking at them. What you're seeing are the exact same animation, and not even former US President Donald Trump can deny that.
These animations, they're the same. The Democrats are saying they're not.
Now, it's not necessarily rare for devs to build their first-person shooters in this manner, but it is rare for it to be executed so well and with so much attention to detail. And that brings me to my next point. Grin's attention to detail with weapons in both Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 1 and 2 is immaculate. Check this out.
On this Glock, for example, they actually animated the fire selector switch when you change firing modes. How many games do you know of do that? Look how you can actually see the rounds in the chamber area. I'm out of ammo and you can actually visually tell there's no rounds in the magazine. Let's eject the mag. Oh, there's the old mag. Look, it's empty. Here's the new one. And look at that. Now I can see new rounds about to be loaded. Here's a detail a lot of devs fuck up on. Look at the barrel. It's actually tilted when the slide's back. Check this out.
So this is your pretty standard Glock. This is the barrel right here. See that? It's all one piece. Watch what happens when I pull the side back. Do you see how the barrel tilts upwards?
Now, to my understanding, the reason the barrel angles like this is to allow for more reliable feed of the next round into the chamber.
It's called a locked breech design, and it's more of a safety feature than anything else, because it prevents overpressure, which can rupture brass cases and cause shrapnel to fly everywhere, which could destroy the gun and probably your hand too. Locked breeches are traditionally a John Browning design. The 1911 also has this design, although the barrel doesn't have any noticeable tilt to it. It actually just lowers downward. But the Glocks have the barrel tilt.
This is a little detail that a lot of AAA studios miss out on. At least the Modern Warfare team has their shit together. Way to go, Call of Duty.
It's a beautiful tilt. Absolutely gorgeous.
You know, one type of weapon that's really difficult to animate are belt-fed machine guns. But of course, the Giga Chad developers over at Grin said, "Hold Minel!"
Let's see how they handle the reload of an FN M249. What about a partial reload where there's still ammunition on the belt? Let's see what the 2019 Modern Warfare animation team did with a similar weapon. Oh, it dropped out of frame. How convenient. But let's be honest, Modern Warfare reloads are still... Let's see what happens in Advanced Warfighter when you leave all but one round left on the belt. Look at this detail that you don't even see in first person. They actually animated the ejection port opening cover flipping open and closed. Look at how the cocking channel cover is subtly bouncing up and down.
The attention to detail to these weapons is just like nothing I've ever seen, even now. Now I'm going to show you guys one last example using the M14 in Advanced Warfighter 2. And for that, I'm going to need to go to my safe and fetch something.
Now I'm going to demonstrate this with my M1 Grin, because the M14 is basically the M1's difficult to control little brother that mommy and daddy spent way too much time and money trying to make.
Basically, the only difference is that the M14 uses a slightly smaller, newer caliber and a box magazine.
Now when you start pulling back on the operating rod, watch what happens. Notice how the bolt is actually rotating and then coming back.
Now, a lot of games that have the M1 Garand or the M14, they don't get that little detail right.
But Grin is like, nah, bro, we got you. Let's check that out in slow motion. Boom, look at that. They actually animated the bolt rotating properly.
You look at it! 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 I want all of you to look at it!
This is yet another little detail that 10 years later, big budget studios weren't doing.
And for a lot of you, that shit doesn't matter. You don't give a crap. But for soy boy nerds like me, those little details make a world of a difference. Well, guys, I think I've pretty much driven this point into the ground. The Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter series for the PC not only has the best reload animations that I've personally ever seen, but the series itself is, in my opinion, one of the more underrated, technically impressive, and unfortunately forgotten tactical shooters PC gaming has ever seen. Not saying there aren't better games out there, of course there are, but there's clearly a lot of passion and time put into certain aspects of Advanced Warfighter. The saddest part about all of it to me is that commercially the game was most successful on the Xbox 360. And to be fair, it is arguably the best version out of all three. Yeah, you heard me right. They actually developed 3 separate versions of this game. But we don't have to talk about the PS2 and original Xbox version. We'll just shove those back in the closet with all the other skeletons. Hey! Don't get too excited. It's not that great. To the folks who are on the weapons team for Advanced Warfighter 1 and 2, I know the game probably didn't do as well as you'd all hoped. I know that hardly anyone thinks about the amazing attention to detail that you put into those weapons. Hell, maybe you don't even think about it anymore. But I still do. The detail you put into those weapons, believe it or not, were part of a larger vehicle that drove me to make my own decisions when I joined the game industry. I'm a firm believer that it's the little details that make the biggest difference. And I want to thank you for captivating teenage me and just blowing my mind, even all these years later, with the amazing work you did for this game. I don't know where you are. I don't know if you're maybe at DICE and you worked on Battlefield. I don't know if you're still at Overkill Studios, or maybe you don't work in the game industry anymore. But thank you. Alright guys, I think that's the end of the video. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to making more of this content. It was a lot of fun. Comment below any games you think I should go over that have good reload animations, and I'll go through. I'll look at them, I'll compare them, I'll do slow-mo up close replays, whatever you guys want. I'm open to ideas. So please comment below any game you think I should have a look at, and I'll do it. Until next time guys, Commander out.